Now, other interesting business news, you have Subway rolling out a new feature for the stores, a $6,000 slicer for deli meats. Now, they specify that 20,000 stores will receive this fancy new slicer. This is the biggest change that they've made to the stores in about 2 years. And they claim that 80% of the stores who, or actually all the stores who buy the damn slicer, 80% of them will actually have it prominently displayed, quote unquote, so that customers can actually see it. Now, this is, it is hard not to laugh, but it sounds silly to think of this as a business strategy or methodology, but it is. It is drastically different than their long notion of just having pre-sliced meats in a little plastic baggie. And they do need to do something to turn around that brand. Ever since they had the fiasco with Jared and the increase in prices, they've been going downhill exponentially. At one point, there were more locations. They were at a faster growth rate than the most successful fast food chain in history would be McDonald's. And they just keep going downhill more and more and more. Since 2016, they've had to close 7,000 locations in terms of Subway franchises. And not only that, they're not making that much money. If you look at the industry average for what their competitors are making on a per store basis for revenue, Subway stores make about $500,000 in revenue compared to the average industry rate of $1 million per store in revenue. Keep in mind, that's revenue, not profit. That's just how much cash they're getting. They still have to pay for everything: rent, heating, cooling, electricity, internet, wages for employees, the materials of the food. So at the end of the day, how much profit are you making? Not that much. And it's even more concerning. It used to be a great opportunity for franchisees. Think of mom and pops, or you go to a franchise. You actually have a convention where you can look at different franchises to buy into, and a great way to make a living. And Subway has made it clear they don't want individual franchisee ownerships. They want businesses that own a handful of stores, which also makes sense because if you're making a very little profit per store, the only way you can make a living, or even hopefully expand your business footprint, is to have many, many stores. So there's a couple things working against this in terms of being an attractive brand to invest into if you're looking to buy a franchise or invest in a franchise of Subway. And it'll be interesting to see if this does help them out. It'll highlight that their ingredients are a little fresher. They know they're going to have some new sandwiches, have some fresh meats in there. And it does, certainly in terms of the visual appeal, it will look a lot more of an authentic sub shop. I know that's in and of itself a little bit of a contrarian statement, perhaps, because it is a franchise with thousands of locations. It's not your mom and pop shop, but the food will certainly be fresher if using that methodology. And you actually saw this similar situation where you had Starbucks with Mr. Schultz when he was turning around the company. Great book, actually just finished, by the way. Can't recommend enough. Yes, what is this? Onward by Howard Schultz, and talks about how he revamped the company because, like many businesses, when he moved away from being the CEO and he was more of he was the chairman, more laid back. They had a couple of business blunders that tanked the company, especially their stock as well as their performance in stores. And something he was very adamant about was getting new machines in the stores that, one, were specifically engineered to be lower in terms of the visual, so you could actually make eye contact with the customer, but also tall enough so people could see the engineering marvel that is the coffee machine that was specifically designed for Starbucks for a very specific purpose. And many attribute that as to one of the reasons they were able to turn around that brand. Granted, there are many variables that went into turning around Starbucks, but that was part of their initiative. So Subway might have some success starting to turn the brand around with this slicer. Kind of sucks if you're a franchisee owner because it's one of those situations where if corporate says you got to buy something, you're going to buy it, or they buy it for you. But more often than not, if you look at industry practices, it usually is at the expense of the owner of the franchise. So that's why that's why you don't see a lot of changes when it comes to franchises in terms of the actual changes to the stores, the decor, the little knickknacks, because every one of those things costs the owner money, and they're looking to make a return on investment of their capital that they invested into the brand, into the business. And also keep in mind, in terms of optics of company, Subway's still privately held and they're still for sale. They've been, for about a year, they've been saying they want to sell out to someone or something, and it doesn't look great. My 3 cents when you say your company is for sale for a year and no one's really, I think they have one nibble at the brand, like someone might have thought about buying it, but it never really went anywhere. And they're still hinting in these same articles that they have some conversations going. But if your goal is to get sold out, I don't think you're gonna have the best outcomes. Your goal should be to make the best damn restaurant possible. And with that in mind, the company will eventually become more profitable if you make the right decisions. And then once you're actually a profitable, attractive brand, then someone will swoop in and they'll actually make maybe a more appropriate offer to what you think the valuation of the company is. Right now, they'll probably just, if I were to gambling man and say a private equity firm I invest in, someone's going to have to buy this broken vehicle that is Subway currently. It's a project car, a project business. How do they turn it around? That's why they're going to, if anyone buys it, it's going to be a massive, pretty darn good discount because there's a lot of work to do. And we'll see if anyone is able to actually put in a bid and successfully purchase the company this year. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Don't forget, we're trying to get up to 3,000 subscribers by the end of July. Greatly appreciate you taking the time to like, subscribe, and comment. All the feedback is greatly appreciated as we help make the channel better and better together. Also, don't forget to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.